All right, welcome everybody. I'm Max Dadlift, and this is another episode of Live from the Shed. Today's question comes from Zach Goes to Hero. He wants to know, how do I know when my newbie gains are over? Um, that's a great question. A lot of people are thinking, I'm not a newbie. I don't want to be a newbie. First thing, you want to be a newbie because that's probably going to be the most progress you ever make consistently in your lifting career. Generally, the newbie stage, new lifter, novice lifter, is characterized by your rate of adaptation. So, a novice lifter will generally increase in strength every training session. So, he's going to come on Monday, he's going to train, he's going to be able to add 5 pounds on Wednesday, he's going to be able to add 5 pounds to the lift on Friday. And he's going to keep doing, incremental increases. Eventually, that's going to slow down uh, to like 2 pound increments or 1 pound increments every workout. But the point is that they are making regular measurable progress every single training session. That is a newbie. During the stage, like I said, as long as you are eating to support the growth, you're going to be getting stronger faster than at any point in your lifting career. You got to gain weight to maintain that momentum, especially if you're, under muscled. If you're a little overweight, then just keep eating the way you're always eating, and your body will kind of correct that on its own. It's not going to be, you're not going to have a six pack, but you're going to be in a better metabolic state than you were prior. How you know that your novice stage is over is you're going to start missing lifts, and it's not just missing having a bad training session, but you're going to miss lifts 2 sessions in a row, 3 sessions in a row. You're going to drop back and try to do triples. You're going to stall out on that. Then you'll start doing incremental, single or incremental increases on singles. That'll stop working. So as you exit your newbie phase, training is going to have to become more complex. Your rate of adaptation is going to slow down to maybe once a week, and basically you have to walk that line of stimulus to recovery, because now you can overtrain in a single workout. You're using heavy enough loads that you won't be able to recover on Wednesday from everything you can do on Monday. So you have to start walking that line and paying attention to recovery better. And that's when, programs such as like the Texas method is a great intermediate. What you do is you do volume on Monday, you have a little bit of a recovery day on Wednesday to let your body adapt, but you still have loads that are heavy enough to recruit all the muscle fibers, usually about 75 to 80% of what you're using for your working weight. And then Friday is your intensity day. And you judge progress by adding 5 pounds to the bar on Fridays. So, in the novice phase, you start moving to weekly weekly improvements. Eventually, like in the newbie phase, this is going to stop working. Probably a year or two into training, you're going to have to start tweaking the program again. So you're either going to have to cut the weight on Mondays for volume to keep that Friday intensity going, or maybe you take a week off and you increase the load every other week. So now you're looking at anything between like a week to a month between PRs. And then, after a couple years of training that way, you're going to figure out like, this isn't working anymore. I'm stuck. I'm making gains maybe once every 6 months, once a year. Like my deadlift, it takes about 6 months to 12 months of me doing dedicated training before I can add 10 pounds to the bar. So that's just kind of one of the markers of entering the advanced phase. There are less programs out there that are cookie cutter, that you can just follow blindly, which on one hand sucks because now you can't just go onto bodybuilding.com. That's an old reference. Liftvault.com and find a program. You might get lucky and one might work for you for a little while. But really, at this point in your career, you should have been, it's taken long enough to get here that you should have learned a thing or two about what effective programming looks like and what your own weaknesses are in the various lifts. So this is the point, where either you get a coach or you know enough about programming that you can kind of start tweaking programming on your own based on your own individual weaknesses to try to uh, address these weak links in the kinetic chain, so to speak. Probably not a great metaphor, but it's a metaphor nonetheless. What else? So I hope that answers your question. I know there's a lot of schools of thought on this, and there's like, oh, if you've been lifting for 6 months, you're no longer a newbie. But if you've been lifting like an idiot, then yeah, you're still a newbie. Or people have these strength standards. It's like an intermediate gym goer should be able to bench 2 plates, squat 3 plates, and deadlift 4 plates. I mean, yeah, that briefs well, and it's great for like sound bites on Twitter and Instagram. But the reality is like, if you're just a guy who's 5'4" and 100 pounds soaking wet, like a 2 plate lift might not be intermediate phase for you. You're gonna have to be a lot more dedicated to get there. So there's no one size fits all for those strength standards. They're great things to aim for, especially if you have no goals of your own. Like those goals are better than no goals. But like if you can bench 225 or squat 405 or deadlift 700 pounds, like you're not better than the guy who can't. And I think a lot of people use that as an excuse to feel better than other people. And that's when you get folks like walking up to guys struggling in the gym, and then they curl the weight that the other guy was trying to squat or something. You just look like an asshole. Don't do it. I'm rambling a little bit and getting off topic, but I hope that answers your question about like the different stages of training and some of the different tricks you can use to recognize, when you're at that stage and some steps you want to do. A lot of people are going to get caught in the intermediate phase. They run out their newbie gains and they just drift in intermediate status, early intermediate status forever because they don't make changes, they don't know what to do, and they don't hire a coach. So that's probably where 70% of lifters are, is just in that perpetual intermediate stage. So still better than not lifting at all, but don't let yourself get caught. Make sure you're always learning and getting out there for something new. I know I said I was done rambling, and then I started rambling again. So we're going to call it here. Thank you for joining this session. Please hit me up with questions. Trying to do these Wednesdays, so that's going to be the cadence. We're probably going to release our Wednesday workout, and then an hour and a half later, we'll schedule this just to give the first video some time to breathe. Let me know if you like it. If we get enough questions and this takes off, maybe we'll do twice a week. But appreciate your support. If you're not subscribed, please do so. I really, it helps support the channel, and hope you have a great week. See ya.